you will notice that when we go down configuration rebar, sometimes when we try to go down configuration rebar just like this, we find that it drops just a little bit. There's an effect, like a slight shift happens in my setup, and we'll find out the reason for that now. The first thing I want you to pay attention to is that the length is 1600 when we open our manager. And we go to configuration rebar, we'll find something here called approximate to. What does that mean? It means that when I go down configuration rebar, I want the total length of the rebar to be rounded to the nearest 100 millimeters. If I enter this number as 0, it means that the rebar I place will be exactly as it is without any adjustment. So let's try drawing again. Configuration rebar. Here it is. Of course, when you're drawing by hand and not restricted by concrete, you'll never get the number to be a whole number. There are always fractions. So if I try anywhere here and look at the rebar, I'll find it's 1545.313, and surely there are even more decimals after that. So that's the reason. Yeah, that's when I haven't set any approximation to 0. So the rebar will be placed exactly where I put it. Of course, what I've drawn here has a height of 500. So if I extend my rebar all the way to the end, it will be set at 1769. The height is 500, but there are curves in the rebar, and those curves make it 1769. So of course, to solve this problem, I either start adjusting the numbers for the length. Yeah, the ones I have right here, as you can see. And usually about 99% of the time we actually change this length, and then we just start carefully tweaking these lengths. Almost always, in most cases. Or we start using this feature, adjust length, and honestly, that's the best thing to use. It comes up and tells us the length is 1769. So I tell it no, I want it to be 1700, for example. Then it immediately adjusts the length for me so that it becomes 1700. Of course, it didn't work as expected because I had set max previously, so I decided to remove it and then run the command again, this time telling it 1700. Now it will actually be 1700 because earlier I ran the command while set to max was enabled, so it changed the hooks and then the hooks came out again. So I turned off set to maximum and ran the command adjust length once more. The length of the hooks decreased in both directions and achieved the length I needed. In this way, I don't have to deal with this issue every single time I make a change to the configuration rebar. Let's go ahead to our settings and open configuration rebar and put an approximation to our rebar. If you want this to be 5 millimeters, that's fine. If you want it to be 1 meter, whatever you need. So for example, let's say 100. If we say 50 now, if we set it to 50, we'll find that the rebar we're going to place will be rounded to the nearest 50 millimeters. If we look here, it will be 1500. Let's try to get it out a little more. I want something in the 50s and it's coming out as 1500, so that's correct as well. Let's try putting 1550 here. So it always rounds to the nearest 50 or the nearest number. We're running it here in the mode where it automatically rounds to the nearest 100, as an example. So if people want to work with the exact number they enter without any modification or adjustment whatsoever to the rebar length, they should simply set approximate to 0, or they can start adjusting this number themselves to get exactly what they want.